So let's look again at the vision boards that we made. Let's look again at the intentions that we have for 2013. What really are your goals?
And lots of God's creatures.
And do you really want it? Because if you do, taking one step at a time is what gets us there. It's not like this guy. What made him think yoga was the way to go? I don't know. I mean, imagine 47 years old for 15 years walking assisted, being told by every doctor, sorry dude, you're always going to walk with some form of assistance. It's just not possible for you that you can ever walk or much less run on your own. And when you hear the man tell his story, he says, I prayed. And I said, what's my next step? I know that that's where I want to be, but I don't know how to get there. What would be my next step? And whatever that next step was, that's what he committed to do. And for him, it was yoga to begin with. So he goes into all these yoga studios with his braces and his crutches, and he's saying, hey, I want to take yoga. And they're going, dude, what do your doctors say? All my doctors say I can't do it. They say I'll never walk. They say this, they say that. Dude, I can't help you. I didn't just go to one yoga instructor. He went to yoga instructor after yoga instructor after yoga instructor until he found one who said, dude, I don't know what we're going to do. And to hear the guy, who's actually a pro wrestler of all things, Diamond Dallas Page, say, I said, God, how can I help this man? And in the questioning began to come the answers. It was this step. Take this step. Or take that step. Or let go of your grandma's hair. The point is, there is no goal that we can have that's bigger than God. So the same thing is true for any goal that we have in our lives. Whether it's physically, whether it's financially, whether it's job, whether it's stability, whether it's relationships, whether it's anything. Everything in this universe is in movement. It's either moving towards something or it's moving away from something. Every single thing in this entire universe that we can see is not standing still. It's either in a state of building or a state of decay. A state of moving towards something or a state of moving from something. So when we look at our goals, when we look at these things and we say, but God, if I am here and I've envisioned myself here, why isn't it just... And like magic, poof, we're there. We're instantly living this life. The key to it, and the key to why God made steps, comes in that video. When he had taken a certain amount of steps, he said, and then I began to believe it was possible. The steps were important for him to get from, I don't believe this is possible, but this is where I want to be, and I'm asking God every day how to get there. Whatever steps pop into my mind, I'm going to do them. I don't know where they're leading. But this is the step that showed up today, so this is the step that I'm going to do because it's leading in the direction that I think I want to be, that I know I want to be. And I asked for guidance, and guidance showed up, so now it's up to me to act on it. And as he did that, something happened in here, something happened in his consciousness, where he said, and I was beginning to believe that it was possible. We look at the things on our vision boards, no matter how big or grandiose they may appear, the only thing that keeps us from them is one main ingredient is the believing that it can actually happen, but the second is asking for guidance and taking each step that's moving towards something, that's moving towards what we want, even if we don't know how that puzzle piece will ultimately add in. If I was in his situation, I'm not sure that yoga is where my head would go. Like, I need to do yoga so that I can walk and I can get rid of these crutches and I can do this. I might have done a physical therapy route, or I might have done this route or that route or this route. But he prayed, and that was the guidance he got, was do yoga. Now I can imagine dude sitting by himself, having a conversation with God, going, are you serious? Have we met? Do you see, I am 47 years old. For 15 years I've been told by the top people in the country I can't walk from here to there without crutches? And you want me to do yoga? Really? But he did it anyway. When you would look at each of the steps he took, many of them weren't pretty. Many of the steps that we all take in our lives, going from here to here, asking God's guidance, we don't do it perfect. Especially at first, like this guy, we fall down, we're developing a new normal around it, and each step is helping us get more comfortable with the version of us that's already in this place. It's not about how perfect we take each step. It's not about how confident we take each step. It's not even about how many times we fall down. It's about taking the step anyway. Knowing that we're supported by God, that when we asked for guidance, and we received it, and we took action on that step, that it's leading us in the direction that we're trying to go, that we've set our intention to go, and we're fully supported by the universe. We're fully supported by God in becoming this thing, whatever's on our vision boards, whatever we have dreamed, we have. What's important to you? What's transformational about the year 2013 for you? What is it? Think for a second about what your ultimate goal is. If I could write myself a letter December 31st, 2013, at the very end of this year, and give instructions to the me of today, dude, if you want to get to where I'm at right now, just 12 months away, 11 and a half months away, man, this is how you got here. You did A, you did B, you did C, and you repeated. You did A, and you did B, and you did C, and you repeated. Until that it fulfilled its purpose, and then you did D and E and F. And the main thing is, you did it consistently. You took the steps, you asked for the guidance, and you took the steps to do your part. And as we do our part, that frees God up to do his part. Pop always tells a joke about a guy named Jaime who's talking up to God and saying, I want $1 million, I want $1 million. And at some point when he finally quiets down, he hears in his head, he hears God's voice say, Jaime, do me a favor, buy a ticket. It's take that action step. If this is the thing that I want, and if this is the guidance that I'm given, take action on it. It phases our old reality out and our new reality in, one step at a time, because as we take each step, we begin to believe that it's really possible. Now, whatever limits have been programmed into our minds that say, but even though I have this goal, the experts tell me it can't happen. Well, on Facebook there's a cute thing running around that says, remember that experts built the Titanic and amateurs built the Ark. So it's not about what the experts have to say. The experts told me I'd never walk, told my mom I'd never walk, told them buy him a wheelchair, your kid will never ever walk. And they took me to the specialist and they did tests and they said, nope, he'll never walk. But she followed the guidance, she took me to the Shriners Children's Hospital, she did, and then she was smart and didn't tell me I couldn't. It's not about what we've been told by a boss, by an accountant, by a banker, by a doctor, by a physical therapist, by an anything, because God is bigger than all of those people. And when we look at a goal that seems just too big. Just too big. We break it down in little bitty steps, and we need to ask the universe, we need to ask God for help. And in that asking for help, what is the guidance? What can I do today? And it's not necessarily a doing. Mary worked with one guy who was trying to put on mass body weight. He was trying to bulk up, and he was a physical trainer, and he did all this workout stuff every day, and he did, and he did, and he did. And the guidance that came for him was, do nothing. Sit in your chair and visualize each exercise that you're doing without moving your body. And by doing this one thing, you put on, what, 15 pounds of muscle and finally got a six-pack in like a couple months? It's the goofiest thing. It's not about what our minds say, but here are the steps. I know what the steps are. We know what the steps are that have brought us to where we're at right now. God knows the steps that's going to get us to where we want to be. And it's not always what we think. It's not always what we think. In fact, oftentimes it's kind of the opposite of what we think. But if we do them anyway, and we trust in God, and we trust in that guidance, we'll ultimately get to exactly where we want to be. Now think about this. If my goal for this year is to have the most amazing relationship with my spouse that I can, every day, as I wake up and I set my intention and I ask for guidance, how today can I have an even better relationship with Mary? There may be a flood of things that come in. There may be one or two things that come in. There may be nothing that day, but as long as I continue to ask, every time something shows up, I do it. That's where the miracle begins to happen. A couple weeks ago I told the story about before Mary and I met, and I was chasing Miss Wrong from one end of the country to the other, wearing a whole lot of different names and faces. But when I finally said, dude, I'm done. I want actual love. What can I do to get that? What I heard, what I felt, was your ultimate love already exists and is looking for you. Take her on a date. I said, how can I take her on a date? I've never met her. He said, oh, you still believe this physical stuff is all there is, right? This physical body? And I'm like, yeah, good point. And so every night at 9 o'clock, I'd have a date with Mary before I met her. Within a month, she was in my world physically. And God had to work a whole lot of details out to where she sold a house in Oregon and moved to South Dakota, or Nebraska at the time, showed up at my doorstep, blah, blah, blah. There were a ton of miracles that happened, but it all took me asking the question and following the guidance, whether the guidance made sense to my own head or not. So if we want, like this guy, what do you want that bad that you're willing to ask for help and follow the guidance to get there? Because if it's material things, if it's physical wealth that before seemed just out of reach, I've always seen it and it looks great, and there's so many things I would love to do with it, and people I would love to help, and a lifestyle I would love to live, but man, that's outside my reach. I don't know how to get there. You don't have to see the whole staircase. Ask for guidance on this step that I can do today, and do it. And the next day, this step. And the next day, this step. And as all those steps add up, I love things like this video where you can see a fast forward in time of all those steps, because we each watched him do the steps, right? We watched him do them gracefully, we watched him do them clumsily, we watched him get in touch with his body, we watched each of those steps make sense to him, and we watched that belief begin to take hold. And we watched that fast forward in time of 1 year, person A or person B. Now you can bet he had the same goal with and without the action steps. That he could run, that he could walk. The weight was inconsequential. That wasn't what he was there for. He was there because he wanted to be able to walk and he wanted to be able to run unassisted. That was his goal. These other things were bonuses. Now the same year would have passed for this man either way. And he either would have been sitting in his chair saying, I wish that I could walk. I wish that I could run unassisted. And it's on my vision board. It's right there. Walking and running. Walking and running. And I see it. Or the same guy with the same vision board, with the same goal, who said, God, this is my goal and I need some help. How do I get there? Just do this step. Just do this step. Just do this step. This is yours to do today. And through that stepping comes a shifting. And through that shifting comes a believing. And from that believing comes the recreation of a reality. There is nothing that we can dream or want or be or experience that's bigger than God. And there's a part of God that's in each of us, our spirit, our soul, which is absolutely unlimited, 100% deserving. One thing that Mary brought to my attention the other day, she was watching a video on hypnosis and a new technique, and it put me down to some things that she's already done and we've done in the past, and we started to just journal it. Just every day, this one little notebook is dedicated to my goal of X. And every day I ask the question, what can I do today to bring me to this goal? And if there's something that shows up, I write it down. Oh, this is what I got. This is what I got. And before my mind has a chance to second guess it away and say, no, 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 no. That won't work because don't do that. That's uncomfortable. You might be silly. You might look silly. That's whatever it is. Before I second guess it away, I just write it down. And then after that, I write whether I did it or not. This little thing showed up. Did I do it? Yes, no. Circle one. And my goal is that over the course of this year, I'm going to fill up that journal. In the course of this year, I'm going to take my steps the same way that this man took his steps. And if all things work the way that they appear to work, then at the next New Year's Eve party, I'll be sharing my little notebook saying, hey, look, this was my goal. It's filled with all these pages of guidance that I asked for, guidance that God gave. These little action steps and more yeses circled than nos. And that's one of the ways that I've strengthened my relationship with God. I've strengthened my relationship with myself, with other people that I love and care about. And this is how this goal is becoming manifest. And this is where I'm at on my journey. Now maybe I'll be at the point where he was in the video where he was said, this is where I'm at today, and he stood on his head for all of half a second and crashed into the cupboard. Maybe that's where I'll be. But compared to the me that's hobbling around with my goal, I'll take it. Or maybe I'll be at the point of walking towards the end of this video, or maybe I'll be at the point of running. Whether my goal is physical, whether it's financial, whether it's spiritual gift, whether it's being a good dad, whether, no matter what it is. I'm going to have a couple notebooks. In fact, I do have a couple notebooks because I've got more than one goal. So I've got one for my body, and I've got one for my finance, and I've got one for this goal and one for this goal. I invite you to do the same thing. When you look at your vision board, and after the service, when we're having treats and stuff, Mom and Pop brought their vision boards this week, so we can share and we can look at them and say, wait, Debbie did last week. And I invite anybody who makes a vision board, bring it in. Let us see it, because we all want to add our energy to your vision becoming manifest. You're not in it alone. To your vision becoming manifest. Actually becoming your physical reality. Your spiritual, your emotional reality. Same way we did with Debbie last week. That's what you have designed for yourself in 2013, and so it is. And we all send our energy towards your goals happening. Because they're your goals, and because they're your goals, thank goodness they're important. And you having them, you ordained what the goal was. It was inside of you needing to come out. And you said, this is what I really want. Out of the entire universe of things, this is what I really want. Well, cool, you can have it. And in having it, You're strengthened. Imagine this man's relationship with himself and how it's changed in 1 year. Imagine that. Now imagine you making a vision board and you living that vision board. All of the steps along the way, what will your relationship with you be? What will your relationship with God be? I look forward to finding out. Let's find out together. God is good, amen?
Amen.